Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful sunny day, but things in Port Charles are darker and more twisted than ever. We have so much to unpack, so grab a snack, settle in, and let's dive right into the absolute madness that is unfolding on our screens. Oh my god. I am literally screaming right now. I just finished watching Monday's episode of General Hospital, and I am shaking. I was eating dinner and literally choked on my pasta when the final scene played. I had to pause the TV and text my friend immediately because I just could not process what my eyes were seeing. Okay, but listen, this episode was so unhinged, I don't even know where to start. Like, I am acting like these are real people who are personally offending me with their terrible life choices, but honestly, can you blame me? The drama is at an all time high, and my jaw dropped so many times it is practically on the floor. I am typing this so fast, my fingers are cramping, but I have to get all these thoughts out before my brain explodes. Let's start with Willow Kane, because honestly, she needs to get it together, I swear. My blood is actually boiling thinking about her right now. So, Detective Joe Fitzpatrick, who, by the way, is still giving me major shady vibes, but whatever, anyway, shows up with a literal search warrant. He wants to check the trip record on Willow's SUV. At this point, I'm yelling at my screen, "Yes, Joe, get her," because we all know she has been lying through her teeth. Joe makes it crystal clear that this is about Jordan Ashford's hit-and-run accident. And what happens? Curtis Ashford, who is currently the king of making bad decisions, rushes to Willow's defense. Why would he do that? I was like, are you serious right now, Curtis? Curtis actually stands there and argues with the police that Willow would never flee the scene and leave them there to die. I'm dead. The audacity of this man to blindly defend her when he is literally facing felony assault charges himself. And wait, it gets worse. Curtis decides to point the finger at Isaiah Gannon again. He is so obsessed with blaming Isaiah for everything. And the timing, oh my god, the timing was so perfect, like straight out of a movie. Just as Curtis is accusing Isaiah of framing Willow, Isaiah himself pops up and hears the whole thing. I actually gasped out loud. The tension in that room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. So Isaiah and Curtis get into this massive, explosive argument right there. Isaiah is not backing down, and honestly, good for him. He hints that Curtis is going to be facing way more than just the current assault and battery charges. Curtis gets all puffed up and is like, "Is that a threat?" And Isaiah just coolly suggests that it's just the truth, bringing up the massive civil lawsuit he is hoping to slap Curtis with for ruining his surgical career. I mean, Isaiah's hand is destroyed, he missed his surgery, and Curtis is showing zero remorse. I am fully team Isaiah on this one. Curtis needs a reality check. Mark my words. This is going to end badly for him if he doesn't stop acting like he's invincible. Okay, where was I? Right, so back to Willow. She ends up at the PCPD, sitting in the interrogation room with ADA Justine Turner. And this scene, you guys, this scene had me throwing my throw pillow at the TV. Willow has the absolute nerve to sit there, looking like a delicate little flower, and says, "We both know what's going on here. The audacity." She is trying to play the victim, acting like Justine is just out to get her. Willow totally suspects that because Justine's plan to put her behind bars for Drew Kane's shooting completely flopped, Justine is now just trying to railroad her for a different crime. She refuses to admit any wrongdoing. She sits there, denying that she was the driver who left the crash site, acting so incredibly self-righteous. But here's the kicker, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but it is so important, the GPS on her SUV is going to tell a completely different story. Thanks to Brick and the secret, off-the-books help he gave Brooklyn Quartermain, the truth is literally hard-coded into that car's data. Brooke Lynn and Michael Corinthos have been setting this whole thing up, and Willow is walking right into the trap. I can't breathe. It is so iconic. Willow thinks she is so smart, but the digital footprint never lies. I am literally counting down the seconds until Justine slams that GPS report on the table and wipes that smug, fake innocent look right off Willow's face. Not okay, Willow. You can't just run people over and pretend it didn't happen. And don't even get me started on the absolute hypocrisy of Willow Kane right now. She is sitting in a police station acting morally superior, while she is literally hiding a fugitive mob boss, Jen Sidwell, in her own house. Yes, she is harboring Sidwell because she needs him to get leverage on Drew Kane, who she is secretly keeping in a medically induced locked-in state. Like, how is this the same girl who used to be a sweet schoolteacher? She is actually unhinged. If the cops knew that Sidwell was chilling in her living room right now, she would be in federal prison so fast her head would spin. I am screaming just thinking about the layers of crimes this woman is committing while batting her eyelashes at the ADA. Speaking of Sidwell, that brings me to the next massive plot point. Justine decides to let someone new take over the search for Sidwell, which is probably a good idea because the PCPD has been fumbling this case for months. There is a brand new lead to investigate, all thanks to Mayor Laura Collins and Jordan. They managed to figure out that Sidwell kept a secret residence in Port Charles. And wait until you hear what this residence was for. It was meant to be a wedding gift for Lucas Jones and Marco Rios one day. I literally started crying when Laura shared that news with the police. The emotional weight of that is just crushing. I have to pause here because the tragedy of Lucas and Marco is just too much for my heart to handle. Marco was murdered by Ross Cullum, and Lucas has been grieving so hard, setting up stings, taking bullets to the chest in bulletproof vests, all to get justice. And now we find out Sidwell had this beautiful house waiting for them? It makes the betrayal and the violence so much more painful. Laura insists to the PCPD that this house is a lead worth investigating, and they are totally going to storm the place. But the tragic irony is that we, the audience, know Sidwell isn't even hiding there. He is at Willow's house. The cops are going to kick down the door of this tragic, empty love nest, while Sidwell is probably eating Willow's organic snacks. It's so frustrating. I could scream. Oh wait, before that happened, actually, we need to talk about the absolute chaos happening in Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. I was on the edge of my seat for this entire segment. Dante Falconeri and Lulu finally tracked down Rocco. But if you thought Rocco was just going to run into their arms and come home, you don't know soap opera teenagers. Rocco is stubbornly refusing to leave with his parents, unless they take Britt Westbourne with them. He is standing his ground, protecting Britt, and it is honestly so sweet, but also so stressful. Dante is losing his mind, obviously, because he just wants his son safe, but Rocco is not budging an inch. At this point, Lulu does something that actually shocked me. Instead of dragging Rocco onto a plane by his ear, she folds. Lulu suggests that they will just let Britt decide what they do next. I was yelling, "Lulu, you are the parent! Why is she letting a sick fugitive make the life-altering decisions for her teenage son?" But I guess Lulu realizes that pushing Rocco will only make him run again, and she is trying to play the long game. So now, the ball is entirely in Britt's court. Britt has a massive decision to make. Does she surrender to Dante and Lulu? Or does she try to keep running to protect them from Cullum? But wait, did I already say that? Whatever. Anyway, the real danger for Britt isn't Dante and Lulu, it's the literal poison she is carrying. Remember how we found out the syringe in her room in Port Charles was just saline? Well, the game has changed. Ross Cullum, who is actually the devil incarnate, pulled a dirty trick and managed to get deadly, poisonous vials sent to Britt, disguised as her Huntington's medication. Britt is currently at risk of severe poisoning. She has these vials, she thinks they are going to help her symptoms, and she is holding literal death in her hands. I am terrified. I am calling it now. This is going to be the most stressful scene of the week. Will Britt inject herself with a dose, thinking it's her medication, and get the lethal toxin Cullum intended instead? If she does, she is going to collapse on that island, and Dante and Lulu are going to have to orchestrate an urgent, frantic hospital trip to save her life. But Britt is a doctor. She is smart. I am praying, literally praying to the soap gods, that Britt gets a hint that something is off. Maybe the liquid looks different, maybe the packaging is weird. Will she get a clue about the trap that's been set for her and escape a grim fate by not injecting herself at all? Mark my words, she is going to figure it out at the last possible second. She has to. Okay, switching gears completely because I just remembered the other heart-stopping moment from the episode. We have to talk about Danny. Jason's son is stepping up and proving he has that Morgan hero blood in his veins. So, Cullum is continuing his reign of terror and sends a guy to kidnap Charlotte Cassidy. Because Cullum is obsessed with using kids as leverage, or whatever his twisted logic is. But Danny leaps into action. He witnesses this shady guy creeping up on Charlotte, and he doesn't even hesitate. He throws himself into the fray to save her from becoming Cullum's next hostage. I was cheering in my living room. Danny is doing whatever he can to keep Charlotte safe, and their bond is just everything right now. I mean, think about it. Danny and Charlotte have been through so much recently. They literally broke into Windermere together just weeks ago, and now they are facing down Cullum's goons. It is giving me major flashbacks to when Jason and Sam used to go on their dangerous adventures. Danny has that exact same protective instinct. I literally had to pause and text my friend, Danny is the new Jason. Because the way he threw himself in front of danger for Charlotte was so iconic. If Cullum thinks he can just snatch Charlotte off the streets of Port Charles without dealing with a Morgan, he is sorely mistaken. I am just so terrified that Danny is going to get himself hurt in the process, though. He's just a teenager. But honestly, he's braver than half the PCPD right now. And I almost forgot to mention earlier, but Anna Devane is making a risky move at her facility. We don't even have all the details yet, but you know Anna. She is never going to just sit around and let the bad guys win. Whatever she is plotting, it is going to be epic. Between Anna making moves, Danny playing hero, and the entire PCPD closing in on the wrong Sidwell hideout while Willow plays innocent, my brain is literally short-circuiting. This show is firing on all cylinders right now, and I am here for every single unhinged second of it. Seriously, if you are not watching right now, what are you even doing with your life? The stakes have never been higher. Is Britt going to poison herself? Is Willow going to finally get arrested for the hit and run? Is Curtis going to lose everything because he can't control his temper with Isaiah? I cannot wait for tomorrow's episode. I am going to be a nervous wreck all day waiting for it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen because I need to talk to someone about this before I literally explode.